Heard there was no sound. So we're going to start again at the top. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I'm on audio delay on Facebook. I won't know until you pop up.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Welcome to Vivid Talk Live. I'm your host, Gwen Witherspoon, and I was told that you could not hear me, so we're starting over. I'm the principal and chief visionary officer of Adam Red, an Atlanta branding agency. I'm a brand strategist and a better life coach. Vivid Talk Live is all about your personal and professional development. I want to help you learn a fresh way of thinking and doing for all you were designed to build. You can watch live on gwenwitherspoon.com, and there you can also get links to replays. So make sure you follow your favorite channels and you'll receive notifications when I go live. Join me each Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, I'm beginning with what I call my Vision Theory series, so I can share with you some concepts that I believe will transform your thinking and your doing. It's not enough to have an idea, it's what you do with it that matters. Oftentimes, we don't take decisive action because we have created mental blocks. So, in addition to the vivid model, I have created some brain hacks to simplify all the stuff that makes you stop. I have my own theories about bringing your vision to pass, and I'm going to be sharing them with you. Now, introduce yourself in the comments and let us know the city and the state that you're signing in from. Katrina and Ron are going to be helping me monitor the comments. So when I come back, I'm going to announce the final daily prize winner from last week's launch party week. We're going to do that intro one more time. Now, last week's daily prize drawing, we gave away Vivid mugs. So the last winner from last week, from our launch party week, is Colin Knapp. So I will be reaching out to you, Colin, to get your contact information so we can send you your Vivid Talk mug. Now listen, I want to also make sure you know exactly where to get all the information you need to know about Vivid Talk and about me. So if you go to gwenwitherspoon.com, you're going to see there the live where you can actually watch the show starting at 7 p.m. That little block at the bottom, it'll either have links to Facebook and YouTube for you to follow, or it'll have the actual video that's playing live. Also, to the right of that, you will see the logos for all the channels that we are on, whether they're live or replays, and you can subscribe there just to make sure that you get notified every time we get ready to go live. Also, all the social accounts there. So definitely make sure you follow, that you like, and that you share. Okay. Now today I kind of want to define the word theory. So theory is a system of ideas intended to explain something. I love systems and processes, and as I've grown as an entrepreneur, there have been so many things that have made me stop. And the one thing that I've seen with other people that I've coached, that I've worked with, we all kind of have the same stumbling blocks when it comes to building our vision, our businesses, when it comes to writing your vision, when it comes to even sharing with somebody exactly what it is you're trying to do. And so I love creating these kind of models, these hacks. They're kind of creating my own theory, my own system, my own way of explaining it to help trick your brain, basically. And so what we're going to be doing in this next series of episodes is talking you through some of those theories, and then also you'll have a chance to sign up for courses, for coaching, for just all kinds of help, because I want you to not only get a bunch of ideas, I want you to also understand how you can actually apply those to your life, to your vision, to your business. And so, but we're going to start just by kind of give you an overview of what I call kind of my top theories. Okay. So, one of them. And so the Vivid model that Vivid Talk Live is based on, and all of the Vivid brands, Vivid Magazine, Vivid Talk Radio, Vivid Content Lab, all of those and others, they're really based on some really sound biblical principles. Scriptures I know you've heard 1,000 times probably, but it starts with the fact that vision is just a part of our everyday life. And Proverbs 29:18 basically lets us know that any area of your life that is perishing, right? We don't use, that's not really a modern day word, but you understand that anything in your life that's not working, that you're not happy with, it's perishing. And basically, oftentimes the culprit is the fact that we don't have vision in that area. So all of Vivid brands are totally about helping you get a vision for every area of life. You'll hear me talking about vision over and over and over again. And so we want to help you get a vision for your inside, your outside, and your surroundings. Okay. And so the other concept that comes out of that is the Vivid model. And it's based on Habakkuk 2:2 that says, write the vision and make it plain. Making it plain is a process. It's not something that happens just because you write it down one time. You have to make it what I call vivid. And making it vivid, if you read after this Habakkuk 2, you go down to the other chapters. I think even it's in the New King James Version, it talks about how if you have to write your answer on a billboard. You have to write your vision on a billboard. And it has to be so clear that when someone is running by, they hasten by, they can glance up at the billboard and read it and run with it. And so that's what making it vivid is about. And that's how I built the Vivid model. So the Vivid model is basically, so the first theory is around writing your vision, how to write your vision. And that is the Vivid model. And the Vivid model, if you were with me last week, here's a summary. It stands for vision. It's an acronym for vision, identity, voice, information, and development. And so this is the process that you use to write your vision, to write it on your own heart. So you've got to interpret what is going on with you, what you've heard, from God, what you've heard, the thing, the inspiration that you've got to write that on your own heart to define it. And then you have to write it on the hearts and minds of other people. So you do that with visual elements, all kinds of tactics, your messaging, all of that. So that's what the Vivid model is about. So then the next idea is how to plan. Right, you need to know how to plan. And I remember when I was writing any attempt to write a business plan, when I first started out in business, was difficult. I mean, every time I got to a question that I couldn't answer, I would stop. And so I understand how difficult that process is, how challenging it is, how insecure you could be when you get to some place that you can't, a question or a section of the plan that you cannot figure out. At least when you can't figure it out by yourself, it makes you stop. And so I created what I call it building the ark. It's a model for really how you can plan anything. So we're going to go through, I'm going to give you a kind of quick high level summary of each of these theories. And then I want to teach you the building the ark theory before we leave, okay? So this is just a real quick little promo about building the ark. So building the ark is about how to plan anything. So the next model, and since we're going to talk a lot about that toward the end, I'm not going to say too much more about that. But the other piece is you also want to, once you create a plan, you need to know how to actually produce. How are you going to get it done? How are you going to finish it, right? And so I call that the beginning of that process. I call that clearing the brain storm. You need, when you have your mind all bombarded and overwhelmed by all thoughts and pressures and all these ideas, and you're not doing anything with that information, I call that the brainstorm. And so this graphic kind of gives you the idea, helps you understand the idea. If you don't have any place to put all of that information, if you don't know what to do with that, you're just going to eventually, I think I talked last week about your brain being like a bucket. It only has a limited amount of space. And so unless you understand what to do with those thoughts and how to manage your ideas, you are going to have a very difficult time being productive. Okay, so clearing the brainstorm is about how to produce. So that is theory number 3. And then I have created what I call the flip productivity system. And the flip productivity system has at its core this printed planner that you use. The slogan is plan, produce, play. And so the flip productivity system is really about how to manage the whole process of writing your vision, how to of writing it, of planning it. So plan, produce, play is about the fact that you need to plan your work. You have to produce what you've planned so that you can spend more time at play. And so play is the last idea. It's the last theory. And I have what I call the play formula. Strengths plus meaning divided by time equals play. And play is not more time at the beach, more time chilling, watching TV, drinking margaritas, although that may be fun. Play in my theory, play is really about doing and being everything that God designed you to be. And so once you master these theories, gives you the opportunity to not only bring your vision to pass, but to live your life where your weaknesses are irrelevant. And that's a beautiful place to be. I kind of feel like I'm living like that to a certain degree, and it's fun. It's like you're working, you're exerting yourself. There's difficulty, there are challenges, but all of those things working together are actually strengthening you, making you better. And then, and I talked about it, Katrina and I are business partners. And one of the things that she brought out when this whole COVID-19 quarantine situation happened, we discussed the fact that when you know who you are, you are not immune to trauma, but you are certainly capable of adjusting and pivoting and recovering faster. And so that's what my whole vision theory series is really about. And so I want you, if you did not have an opportunity to see the launch party week episodes that we did last week, I went live every day for 5 days straight just to share the vivid model, kind of break it down step by step. And of course, we're going to do more of that as we go through this vision series, the vision theory series. But I want to make sure you kind of go back and check those out as well. And those are available at my website. Those videos, they're also on Instagram, on IGTV. They are on Facebook, and they are also they're on Twitter, they're on Periscope, and they're on YouTube. So any of those channels, whatever your favorite channels are, and at the very least, they are also available at gwenwitherspoon.com. Okay, so I'm going to play a quick video that walks you through the building the ark theory, and then we will come back and talk about it. just looking at the chat. And welcome, Wanda and cousin Eric. You're back. I saw you last week. Gwen, my Gwen twin, is here. Thank you guys so much. And post what city you're logging in from for me, so we'll know exactly where you are. But it's good to see you all. I really thank you for joining us, and I want to encourage you. Go back and look at Launch Party Week videos and let me know what you think. And let me know if you have any questions also. And you can post your questions also here in the comments. I may not see them directly, but Gwen, Katrina and Ron are going to help me make sure that we get your questions answered. And certainly, if I don't get them answered during the live, then we'll definitely make sure we go back at the end. I'll go back through and check as well. But so the building the art concept really came to me because years ago when I started working on my agency, it's kind of had three different renditions, three different phases of development. So back in 2010, I got the vivid model, the whole idea. Hi, Veronica. I got the concept for the vivid model. And then in 2012, I just went cold turkey, like quit my job. My husband was like, you can go, you're smart, you're capable, you can figure this out. You can go ahead, go full time and work your business. And so I did. I went running to the door, right? And and one of the things that I thought about from day to day, I went about building my business. There was a book that is key to my own business development and my thinking around this whole thing. But that is it's very old, but it's a really good, solid book even today. And it's called the E-Myth, E-MYTH, the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And one of the things he talks about is these three kind of warring personalities within an entrepreneur. And he talks about the fact that typically what happens is, let's say you make cakes. So you make cakes, you're working for this bakery, and you get to a point where you're tired of the grind of working for someone else. And just one day you get this idea, this ting, that, you know what? I could do this myself. I could run my own bakery. And you quit that job and decide that you're going to go build your own bakery business. And so Michael Gerber calls this the entrepreneurial seizure. That moment where you're like, wait, I don't have to work for somebody else. I can do this myself. And he says that he basically goes on in the book. And there's also a really, like, if you want to just get like the Cliff Notes version, I'm sure you can go to YouTube and just do a quick search for E-Myth Revisited, and you'll kind of get the Cliff Notes version, which is really good because that'll give you some top line concepts before you actually read it. But what he talked about was you need to work in your business before you work on it. And he talks about using a franchise model. You know, every McDonald's basically is run the same way. It has a system that's already in place, and it has guidelines and all of that. And so if you buy into McDonald's, you're buying into that, so that the experience is going to be the same thing. I'm a brand strategist. I have a branding agency, and one of the things that we always talk about with branding, it's not just about how things look, it's about how they function. You want to create an experience that's consistent. If you walk into an Apple store in Lenox and you go to an Apple store in California, they want you to have the exact same experience, even though it's different people, it's a different area. And you need to think about your business, your vision exactly the same way, even if you don't have an intention to build multiple locations. So the idea is you need to build it as if it was a major corporation, as if it were going to be a franchise. Build it as if you have to pass this knowledge on to somebody else. And so it occurred to me when I was trying to apply those principles in my business back in 2012, I was spending all this time creating organizational charts, writing position descriptions. I mean, we're talking before I had a client, before I had team members, before I had anything, I was sitting there working this through, working it out, figuring out what the process is going to be. Michael Gerber suggests that once you create an organizational chart based on what you think you need, all the people, this is, or all the positions. So this is not, it's not attached to people. So you may be by yourself, but you need to create an organizational chart that defines who needs, what positions do you need to actually build this business strong. And he suggests that if it's you and it's you a business partner, if it's you by yourself, you go through and basically decide which, if like at that time I had a business partner, so we went through that chart, picked out what positions within the chart we were going to take. You notice I said positions. So as an entrepreneur, we especially a solopreneur, you're wearing every single solitary hat. Well, but while you're wearing those hats, what you need to do is be documenting what it is you're doing so that then you can pass that in knowledge on to somebody else. You go in, you do the job, you learn how to do it, you create your systems and processes, document that as if you were creating a franchise. Then when you get somebody who can take that responsibility on, now all you're doing is teaching them the system that you've designed and that you've created and helping them understand how to replicate that. Not throwing them in and letting them define everything for themselves and leaving them alone. So Michael Gerber talks about that, the pitfalls of doing that. But so building the ark is like that. And if you imagine, and so while I was going through this process, I remember telling my business partner, I feel like I'm building the ark, right? I'm building this complex structure according to exacting standards for a future that I imagine, something that I've never seen before and something that I don't know exactly what I'm doing or why, but all I know is there's this future that I'm going towards. There's something that's about to happen and I need to be prepared for it. So in order for me to do that, I need to build this ark. And so I want you to think of your business like that. And so building the ark is really about planning, right? And so what I learned, kind of what I've come up with is that those 5 steps. You want to look within. That's the first step. And looking within is about, it's about beginning this journey, beginning this enterprise with an idea, with a spark, right? It requires that you really look inside of yourself. I'm reading from my flip book, to examine and then to identify what you truly want to happen. That's the first thing. It's like, what do you want? And oftentimes, we're not really sure what we want. Like, oh, I want a bakery. But what does that mean? You know, what kind of bakery do you want? And do you want a franchise? Do you want, like, what exactly is it? You need to really pinpoint that. But I think if you imagine yourself looking in your heart, right? And then the next step is you've got to look up. So that's what this is about. You have to look up. Looking up is about figuring out why this is worth doing. So once you've identified that, you've got to find a reason that's bigger than yourself for actually taking action. And so you notice I didn't say you get a why first. You got to figure out what it is you're doing, what it is you're trying to accomplish, and now we're looking to why. What's the big reason for doing this? Because if you just want to have a bakery because you want to show that boss how smart you are, that's probably not the best foundation to build your business on. But if you want to, say you want to build your own bakery to create a legacy for your children, so now that is starting to be something that's a big enough why. Because if you've done anything in business, if you've been spent any time, you know, and even this COVID-19, I mean, imagine all these businesses now that are completely shut down or whose business model has had to completely change because all of a sudden there is this global pandemic. Hi, Amani. I mean, really, who could have imagined that and who could have prepared for it? Well, if you have a big enough why, you can still weather that storm, right? And so we must look within, we must look up, right? That's the first one. The next step is you've got to look around. I want to look around and take inventory. And you look around to identify what resources you can employ toward this vision and in this plan, right? This is where you are you're figuring out what do you have to start with, like what's already in your hand. You're figuring out what assets that you may never have even considered, what other people, what that are around you. And really, even if you feel like you don't have the people that you need, even if you feel like you are all alone, I promise you that when you start taking inventory of what you already have, what you can get started with right now, the people that you need and the resources you need are going to start showing up. But they don't need to if you haven't already examined what it is you have. And so back to the biblical metaphor. So, Moses, God asked Moses, what do you have in your hand? Like, what is this dream that you have? What do you have in your hand? And what you have in your hand is just this basic principle. And we all have something, you know? And so once you figure that out, then you can start identifying what other things you need. And again, you won't see the next step until you take the first one. So if you start with at least what you have, then you'll be amazed at how everything else you need starts to show up. And you start to recognize it. It may have been there all the time, but you can't recognize it because you haven't at least started with that basic thing that was in front of you. So look within, look up, look around, and then you want to look ahead. And looking ahead, that's kind of where I wrap the vivid model back into that. When you look ahead, what you are doing is you're asking yourself, okay, what's the vivid view? How do I make this? When you look ahead, and I think last week I talked about you being on the shore, looking out on an ocean, and there's just this endlessness in front of you. It feels like it just goes on forever. And so you have to figure out how to make that view on the horizon get clearer and clearer and clearer. That's what I call making it vivid. And so making it vivid it includes just kind of going through the vivid model. And I've talked about that already. And then the last step, and so this is we in any part of this planning process, any of these steps that you miss, that's the thing that's going to trip you up, right? I almost envision it like a bridge going over, like a rickety old bridge with these wood slats and spaces in between. And if you miss any of these steps in the process, that's where you got a big gaping hole. And of course, if you're smart, you're going to stop. Otherwise, you're going to fall through, right? So I kind of see it like even that rocky, rickety bridge that isn't like it's blowing with the wind. It feels unstable. And so that's how you feel when you're trying to plan something and you haven't gone through all the steps and you can't answer all the questions. And typically, we all will get stuck. And so what this is about is I really want to help you get unstuck, and I want you to identify how you can repair that bridge from where you are right now to where you want to be. So the last step in this process that we often forget is I want you to look back. So looking back is about reviewing. Remember, see that? The word review, RE-VIEW. It's about reviewing. So we're starting out, we're looking in our heart. You're viewing into your heart what it is you want. And now, once we go through all these steps through the process, I want you to look back and like review, look again, like how did I do in comparison to what I set out to do? And we don't take time to assess our progress. I don't want you to look back in terms of look back in the past at all the things that failed and all the things that didn't work and all the disappointments. I don't want you to look back in that way. I want you to be moving forward, and then I want you to take the time to look back and see, okay, what did we do? What worked? Like I am still looking back over launch party week over what I learned about going live, what I learned. And so this week, I started at the top of the hour, again with the sound off, but I was able to recover quicker. And now I know I can edit that part out in the front when when the videos are uploaded. So now I'm not sweating like I was last week. It's not the same. So I can, even if there's a glitch or a problem or a challenge, I can look at it a totally different way, regroup, and keep it moving, right? And it doesn't shake me. because I've gone through the process, I've gone through the steps, and now I am reviewing. I'm looking back, okay? And it gives you a chance. Looking back gives you a chance to make adjustments, to really fine tune your next steps. So tomorrow, I will remember that I need to make sure I check the sound before I start the countdown. So, so hopefully you won't come to another video and you don't hear my audio, right? So again, this is the process. So do it with me, okay? And so this is really powerful because um, you our brain learns by not just you can't just listen. You have to do something with that. When you write things down, when you listen, and then when you take action, that actually helps to embed the idea, embed the theories, embed the concepts into your heart. And so again, the Vivid model is a simple acronym for you that's easy to understand, so you can get those processes embedded in your heart and your mind. So when it's time for you to use it, you understand. You may even skip around. You don't necessarily have to do every step in the exact order, but at least you understand the complete process. That's the goal. And so with this, I want you to do it with me. Okay. So what we're going to do first is we're going to look within. We're going to look up. We're going to look around. We're going to look ahead, and then we're going to look back. Oh, that's a good stretch. Okay, let's do it one more time. That felt good. We're going to look within. We're going to look up. You're going to look around. You're going to look ahead, and then you're going to look back. That's it. That's how you build the ark. Okay? Was that good? That was good to me. Okay. Veronica gave me the symbol, the okay symbol. So good, good. So again, if you all have any questions about that, please let me know. And I want to last week for the launch party week, we had a quiz, and it's at the top of my website, gwenwiththespoon.com. And I decided I'm going to keep the quiz up because it will help you understand if you are a visionary, a shifter, or a doer. And I think really understanding that, seeing the results is going to really help you kind of understand a little bit more about yourself. I'm a big proponent of assessments, so I left it there. It's very, very simple to and gratifying. Like I even learned something from it, and I'm the one that put the quiz up. So go ahead and take the quiz. And then we're not doing the daily drawings like we did last week, but I will be looking through social media, looking for people that took the quiz, and from time to time doing drawings and really trying to create some extra value for you. So please go ahead and take that. I think you'll really enjoy it. It'll be really beneficial. And then I want to just remind you of where you can get information about everything we're doing. You certainly can go to YouTube, to Facebook, to Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, and find Talk Live. Got somebody calling. But you can certainly find Vivid Talk Live. But what I want you to do, or the easiest place to go, is gwenwiththespoon.com. So if you go to gwenwiththespoon.com, you can find all the information, the replays of the videos from last week. You can find the links to all of the social networks that we're either going live on or where we're posting the replay videos. And you'll find all of my social media accounts. I'll be doing blog posts, any other additional information. You can find it there. You can contact me as well if you have questions. So you can email me directly. You can comment in social media, and so we can stay connected. Okay. Please let me know if you have any questions and if we can help you. And then go ahead and come back next week, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Invite your friends. Tell all your other enterprising folks, whether they're in business, whether they're in ministry, run a nonprofit, at a turning point in their life, need help with personal branding. And then we'll also I'll be sharing some more information about my Vivid Session 101 course that's coming up on Sunday, the 29th of June at 5 p.m. And that's going to be an opportunity. It'll be a group Zoom meeting where you will have an opportunity to kind of help you apply some of these theories to exactly what you're doing, to your personal branding, to your organization. Of course, within an hour in a group session, we can't answer all your questions, but we want to be able to just give you a little bit more information, take you a little bit further. And what I've learned over all these years is no matter how good you are, uh, Michael Jordan, any LeBron James, doesn't matter how good you are. Those two basketball metaphors, but anybody that we regard as an expert, they all have coaches. Every artist that you love, every musician, we all have coaches and teachers and trainers to help us to grow and develop. And so I'm going to encourage you to give me an opportunity to coach you through this process to help you make your vision vivid.